How's everybody doing this evening? This is your boy, Mr. E. Boss of the Southside Bosses, coming to y'all here on Reggae Hour. You know, BOSS Radio's #1 podcast where we bring y'all the best in underground and mainstream reggae. We got a great interview tonight, so we definitely gonna ask y'all to tune in, turn up and zone out. But before we get into our main attraction, the reason why you're here this evening, I want to just ask you a question. Okay, so you're sitting there with your lover, your friend, your everything, just having that suave conversation. Y'all are deep into each other's eyes. Y'all are deep into each other. When all of a sudden, some little player decide they want to just come up and just distract you for half a second while they lean in to kiss your everything. You know, at first you're not really worried about it until you start to notice your everything is not fighting back. Matter of fact, they leaning into it. Tell us, what would you do in that situation right there? Ladies, if you was caught like that, how would you have handled it better than that? If you want to know more about that, go ahead and hit us up on our What Would You Do podcast that you can find on all streaming services. So hit that What Would You Do podcast, hit that like, follow, and subscribe button, and tune in, because baby, we got a lot of scenarios for you. You heard me? But tonight, we got a wonderful interview coming straight out of Jamaica. We got Lincoln Prophet, and y'all already know about him. If you don't, well, let me go ahead and get y'all a little bit of education. You heard me? Now, please bear with us, because it was raining over there in Jamaica at the time, so we got a lot of background noise from that, but we were still able to hear him clearly, so it was no problem moving forward. So make sure y'all go ahead and tune in, turn up, and zone out. Hit that like, follow, and subscribe button on your favorite streaming service, whether it be iHeart, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Tidal, whatever you're listening to. Hit that like, follow, and subscribe, and also that share button so your family and friends can get this great entertainment tonight. So without further ado, after a word from one of our sponsors, we're going to go ahead and get you over to Lincoln Prophet. You heard me?
I'm destined to win. Hey, I see myself destined to win. This is why I sing. I take life very serious. I'm living fierce and furious. They say to fake it, to make it, but for sure I will make it. And this curse I can break it, because I'm destined to win. Yes I am. I'm destined to win. Yes I am. I'm destined to win. Cause I'm destined to win. I am a winner, not a queen. I am a winner, not a queen. I'm destined to win. Cause I'm destined to win. Yes I am. I'm destined to win. Cause I'm destined to win. Destined to win. Oh gosh, I'm destined to win.
BOS Radio, Southside Bosses, its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the talk show host or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the site or the radio station, and opinions between talk show hosts may conflict. This site does not endorse anything as the truth. That you will have to judge for yourself. But we try to speak the truth on the owner's behalf and reserve the right to question the supposed truth. In this time of misinformation, government-controlled media, and government corruption, it is sometimes hard to get to the truth, but we must try. It is not our intention to libel, discriminate, make hate, or annoy anyone. We believe that it is our constitutional First Amendment right of free speech to voice our opinions and our duty to the Constitution and country to expose the truth. This site takes no responsibility for the opinions of others and the postings of comments in chat rooms or forum posts.
Wifney Reed, also known as Lincoln Prophet, was born in St. Elizabeth Parish, Jamaica. At the young age of 14, he immigrated to the United States to reunite with his mother and attended Springfield Gardens High School in Queens, New York. Music became a constant companion throughout Lincoln's life. After high school, he served in the U.S. military, but music remained his passion. During his leaves, he connected with reggae artists like the legendary Sugar Minott, Super Black, Frankie Paul, and Alton Black. Enriching his musical experience, in 1991, Lincoln made music his central focus. He experimented with different styles and metaphors, leading to his first vinyl release, with Corporal Tim on Piece of the Pie music production. His talent gained recognition both locally and in his Jamaican homeland. He embraced hip-hop influences, incorporating them into his repertoire. Upon returning to Jamaica, Lincoln was signed by the esteemed Youthman Promotion and Black Roots Production, joining artists like Junior Reid, Little John, and Tenor Saw. Lincoln Prophet continues to create exceptional music, exemplified by his hit single, Destined to Win. He performs regularly in Jamaica, his adopted home. He recently signed with Jay-Z Wonder, releasing 3 songs, My Crew, Golden Rule, and We Are One, available on iTunes and Spotify. A music video for My Crew is also available.
As Mr. Flavor, I am proud to bring to you Mr. E, the music maestro.
Already, everybody, this is your boy. We are back, and this is Mr. E in the building. We got Lincoln Prophet. And for y'all, though, that act like you don't know, man, Lincoln Prophet is amazing artist in the reggae genre. And I love this music so much, we had to get him on here. How you doing, sir? How you doing this afternoon?
Yeah, man, doing great, man. Yes, I love seeing.
Great to hear your voice, man. Great to see you and face to face and actually get to know the artist behind that great songs I just got through playing, man. I want to give you your props. You are doing your thing. We keep doing it. We love it. We want to see more.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
Tell me a little bit about you. Like, where exactly in Jamaica are you from?
Yeah, I'm from St. Elizabeth, from a little district by the name of Shrewsbury District, in St. Elizabeth,
Okay.
And right now I'm living in Santa Cruz right now,
All right, perfect. So, what kind of you said it was district? What kind of district? Like, was it like a country town? Was it like a big city? How, like, what was your hometown like?
Yeah, it's a country, but the chief town is like Black River, you know. Black River is a place like the first place in Jamaica to have electricity over the years, you know.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so you grew up in the country, and it's like so you used to like a simple life.
No, well, I left I left down here when I was 14 years old, and I migrated to New York City with my mother, you know, further on my studies and stuff like that. But after graduating from Springfield Garden High School in Queens, New York, and then I joined the U.S. military.
Okay. How long you did in the military?
15 years.
15? Oh, that's a stint.
Yeah.
You got to travel and see a lot of the world going with the military, huh?
Yes, I've been a lot of places. Yeah.
Would you say that that has like some kind of an influence on how you was able to produce your music, going to all of these different places and seeing all of these different cultures?
Okay, like, music always be a part of me, before I, went to the military and stuff like that. But after I left the military, I get more serious into the music. I started producing my own, and I have my own record label, and Piece of the Pie Music Production, you know.
And how was running that? Doing the piece of the your whole label. Like, was you the only artist? Did you have other artists?
Oh yeah, I have like artists like the late Patrick Andy, um, the late Quirky Twin. They passed away. Both of them passed away. And I have Super Black, um, Lynchy Marvin, Surf Demo. Um, yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Okay. So and everybody put pumping out music.
Yes, yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So tell me, how did you originally get interested into even making music?
Okay. When I was younger, I went into the first thing I ever run into was like Dillinger. He's the original singer from way back when. And then like he seen a lot of music into me, and he kept on telling me that when I get further on, I should come and see him about doing my own production and stuff like that. But I went into Sugar Minot in New York, and he told me that when I come to Jamaica, I should come see him. So when I did come to Jamaica, first thing I went to the studio, and then he said to me, he said, so what are you doing now? I said, I'm doing some music. He said, do you have any music on platform? I told him, yes, I got 5 recordings on the platform. So he said he want to hear them. So I handed him the CD, and he went and listened to them, and he says to me that he want me into his productions. So he signed me up, and we started traveling, doing some little bit of traveling, doing a lot of stage shows and stuff like that, you know.
Okay. All right. So this is how you jumped into the career. And how long ago was that again?
That was in um, 97, back in 97, 98.
Oh yeah. Okay. So and that was a great time period right there for all types of genres of music. So I can just imagine how that was it helped to boost your energy in order, like with everything going on at the time, with all these big artists coming out, money was starting to be made, people were traveling the world at a higher pace than before. Like it was just so much energy that was that time period was giving off. but how would you? It's like how, if you had to tell somebody who never been there in 96, 97, 98, when you was getting at the peak at the beginning of making your entrance into the industry, how would you explain how that felt for you?
Oh well, I felt good because see at the time I'm just starting my career, you know, because short the time my military was like in the way of my career that I really had wanted to do some music and stuff like that, you know, and get to meet a lot of different superstars, you know, such like Frankie Paul, Linval Thompson, Jack Radix, even my same friend Sugar Minott and Sammy Dread, and a lot more artists, you know.
Okay, so when you got to making, you started making this music. Well, like, tell me the process. 'Cause back then, like a lot of people don't know that there's a difference from how we recorded back in the day to how we record now. Like, can you explain like how your recording setup? We didn't have like computers doing everything for us back then, huh?
Right, right, exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
I had a dot tape. That tape like is a master tape, you know, and I had a 24 tracks. 24 tracks is the one that mix you down in the studio and stuff like that. And it's a real to real tape, you know.
Right.
And we didn't have CD at that time. We only had that tape. After you mix down the song, after 24 tracks, it goes to the dot tape. Then you take the dot tape to the next level for pressing your song, you know, on vinyl.
Yes. And that was a time consuming process. Right now, these days, people get on the computer, they find them a beat, they just jump on it and say some words. And in 5 minutes, it's on the internet being whatever, it's streamed hundreds of thousands of times and stuff. Back then,
Yeah,
like
that's right.
it took like you probably didn't hear your song finished for like a month, maybe 2, 3 months. Some of them songs you didn't hear till album release date. So it is really
Yeah, right.
so it's can you express how watching the transition from analog, which is what you was speaking on with the 24 tracks, up to digital, what you got going today? How did, because you're still working with the digital now, I'm assuming, because that's what the industry standard is, and you got great quality work. How is the transition? How was that transition for you?
Well, it's a big difference. You see, well, I find it more easier um, to make a track right now with a computer than before. Because when you're using like a 16 track, 24 tracks, 32 tracks, those are like um, heavy mixing, you know. But nowadays, everything is computerized and digital. You know, it's more easier.
Right. Right. And it's like, so when it comes to your artists, do they are all your artists like younger artists, or are they mid stages?
Um, well, you have artists, veteran artists who've been in the business for a long time, and you have some upcoming artists, you know, and they're still at it doing their best they can, you know.
Right. Yeah, because you can see the difference between not necessarily the quality of the work, but how, because it's the game is theirs. I'm not here to critique nothing they put out. I just want to make sure I put that out there, because people be trying to crucify me when I give my opinion. The game is theirs for them to do whatever. We pass the torch to them, so we got to let them do what they're gonna do with it. But listening to their music, you could tell that there's a difference in the culture now. Would you say that it was not necessarily progression or digression, but the change of mindset is it very noticeable to you, or do you think it happened subtly over time?
It happened sort of over time because at first I used to roots rock reggae, reality and culture. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, they have all different kind of genres and stuff like that. The dance hall, you know, it's not really my cup of tea anyway. But you know, real reggae is my thing. One drop. You know,
Right.
because these music that they have coming out, that some artists they are very good artists, but the context of the lyrics is way off.
Right. No, definitely understand that. Definitely understand that, and that's why at some point you have to make sure that things are balanced out. We have to make sure that if that music is going to be hitting the streets and hitting the ears, then we need to have another. We have to balance it. We have to have that real reggae, like you're saying, that roots, the ska and rocksteady and the foundation has to be tended to in order to make sure that the reggae genre of its own, the whole reggae genre actually can survive. So it's great to hear how you got your artists and you're passing your knowledge of the past 30 something years down to them. How are they accepting it, and how do you hear it in their music when they produce their music on your label?
Um, like you see, the artists that I have on my label, they are like veterans artists, and they just do roots, reality, and culture. As I don't explain to them already that I don't produce um, different genres like the new type of genres that the new artists they are using nowadays. You know,
Right,
my thing is like the roots, reality, and culture.
right. No, understandable. And that's very commendable, because like I say, we got to keep that foundation tended to in order to be able to carry this whole genre on the back. So it's like whenever you are in the studio, explain the vibe that you get from either whenever you're in there by yourself or whenever you're in there with your artist. Like, what's the vibe like? What's the feeling, the essence that's going around the room?
Okay, like if I'm in the studio with my artists and stuff like that, um, we have a good vibe because we understand where our lyrics coming from, and we know what we're singing about. You know, because at times I've been doing hip hop too, also in my genre. You know, so
Okay.
I
Right.
just like we have good times doing our own thing.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And like, in like, who comes up with the music production of like the instrumentals? The like, how do you form your group? Is it like, do everybody have free range to bring in ideas, or is there somebody or two or three people that actually are the brainstormers?
Um, Everybody come with their own idea, own lyrics. So the rhythm track is already made. So once the artist, you send out the rhythm to the artist, and he heard the song, he will know what to put on the song when you're doing the recording.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's good because that make sure everybody keeps their own originality, and a lot of producers, a lot of engineers who try to create a label, they get caught up in the image, trying to make it like all uniform and everybody got to be in line, and it kind of kills the whole creativity and end up killing the art, which makes real consumers not want to actually consume it. So it's good that it would like it's good to hear that we still got producers that actually still let the artists keep their creativity and let them venture out on their own. of one prime example I can think of right now in hip hop is J. Cole and the Kendrick Lamar fiasco right now, where they had some kind of a minor beef that I don't even consider beef. I'm glad that J. Cole decided to squash it, but that just goes to show you how whenever we don't keep that balance, it ends up teetering over, and then good artists that we expect nothing but good art from end up doing something stupid like an industry move, like trying to beef on the mic. Whenever you talk to younger artists, how do you talk to them about how to stay away from like industry tricks and things of that nature?
Yeah, well, sometimes, like when you talk to young artists, and you try to tell them the right thing, sometimes they get irritated and think that probably you don't like them, or probably you're trying to bad mind their stuff, you know what I'm saying? So therefore, sometimes I just keep my peace because I don't want no animosity with me and no artist, you understand?
Right. Yes, because at the end of the day, we're still here to promote love, truth, peace, justice, and freedom. So it's definitely a good idea to not. Yeah, the young they need to. Some of them have to learn on their own in order to understand.
Yeah.
It's a cycle. So tell me, how does your family do your family get involved in the music, or are they just supporters?
Well, most of my family are supporters, but I have a couple of family that, Beanie Man is one of my cousins, and you have Caveman, Caveman, Dr. Cave in Kingston, big studio and big sound system, he's one of my family, my bloodline,
Okay, so you guys, y'all spread all throughout. Y'all, do y'all ever work like together, like do shows or anything of that nature?
Oh yes, I work with Caveman last week, Wednesday night. I was up there doing some work with some more artists,
Okay. And how is do you and your artists still perform and like go out to do concerts and like shows at different venues?
Oh yeah, different, yeah. At times, yes.
Tell me about your best one. Tell me about the one that lets you know that this is it. This is how it's supposed to go.
The best show that I go.
Yeah.
Okay. The best show that I go is that was 2023 with a whole bunch of artists like Little John, King Kong, Admiral Tibet, Corny Melody. It was a whole bunch of artists, and it was pretty good. Enjoyed on there and Super Black and a lot more artists.
Okay. And was you able to perform at that show?
Oh yes, I was on it. I was on the show at that big show. Yeah.
Oh wow! So you got to actually rub some elbows and hobnob with some of the greats out there.
Yeah, man.
That's how you know you on that level right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How did that feel?
Oh yeah, I feel good between myself because it's been a long time I've been out there doing my thing, and they know that. And like a lot of places that I go, and like artists will say to me, my name is so and so and so. What's your artist name? And I said, Lincoln Prophet. They say, yeah, I heard of you. Oh, that's you. And I said, yeah, man, that's me. I feel great about that.
Yes. Name recognition. That's how you know you on your way. Like I know you signing autographs now.
Oh yes, a couple. Like when I was in New York, I did a lot of stage shows when I was up in New York, and at the time when I went to Baltimore to do a stage show with Trevor Sparks and it was a lot of girls out there need for me to give them autograph because they said they've been hearing my songs and stuff, you know.
Yes, yes, that's beautiful right there. That's exactly that's the level that we trying to reach right there. That's
Yeah.
why I was like, yeah, we got to get you on here. That definitely got to get you on here. So tell me a little bit about your future. Like, are we planning on doing any do we have any albums that's coming out, any shows that you got planned for the future?
Oh yeah, well, I've been getting a lot of offer, you know. At the time, before the COVID, I was booked for a stage show in UK and down in Brazil, but the COVID uh, jumped in and everything just went down. So right now I'm just getting engagement, you know, to different countries and stuff like that, you know.
Understandable. I feel that. Yeah, COVID came and shook the whole world on that one. I can just
Yes,
imagine how.
man.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember shows. Even our shows start for a while because we had to, figure out how to pay the bills. Like so. I
Yes,
get it.
right. Yeah.
So, seeing how we got back, everything is back up and running. Where would be the first place you would like to visit to do a show, do a tour?
Well, first place I would like to visit. Um, you know, I don't think there is no first place. Anywhere that show come up and I would like to go there, like even Texas,
Yes, we love
I
you
would
guys.
I would have to be there.
We're gonna definitely got to get you out here. We
Yeah,
definitely
but
need music in this city. So
yeah,
definitely. So how about
yeah,
your
man.
artists? Are they gearing up? Do they have any like any plans, like any albums that they probably be dropping, any new songs that they may be dropping soon?
You mean my artists them who I work with sometimes?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, Super Black. I seen him Wednesday, and he been working in the studio very hard since lately. But he sent me a couple of his new songs and stuff like that, you know. Um, but I could get a couple of them across to you, you know.
Oh yeah, sure, definitely. And we'll invite him onto the show as well.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, definitely do that. We love to spend any music to get that true music. We want to promote that true music, and it's not a lot of it going
Yeah,
around. So
yeah,
and then especially with things going in a political atmosphere with these wars, there's wars almost everywhere. I mean, even with this Palestinian war, like what is your thoughts about that? Like on how not necessarily who's right or wrong or anything, but like how this war is being manipulated. What's your thoughts about that? Do you think that is being manipulated?
Oh well. First thing I would say about that war is like, too many innocent people getting killed, you know.
Yes.
And my heart really goes out for them, because put myself in the same situation that could be on my side in Jamaica here, where they have no remorse about other people's life, you know. And first, they should separate the children from all of the war going on because the children, they are innocent and try to save some life.
Right. Exactly. And it's the amount of children that's just becoming astonishing. It's creeping up to like 20,000 children that's been senselessly
Yeah,
taken. Like, and so that's
yeah,
exactly why I like to promote reggae, because reggae doesn't it talks strictly against that. It doesn't instigate it, don't aggravate it. It tries to calm it, like my uncle used to say. He used to say, if I can get the whole world in the room to smoke a blunt and play some reggae, I guarantee you there'll be peace on earth for about a week.
Oh
And
yes.
I gotta agree. Yeah, if we could just get them into a room where we could pump some all types of reggae. Like when you're listening to music, who do you listen to? What artists you listen to?
Oh, I listen to Maxi Priest. I listen to Barry Salmon. I listen to Delroy Wilson, late Delroy Wilson.
Okay.
Um, even Sugar Minott, Frankie Paul, Rashilo. You know, those are some great artists whom I look up to.
Okay. Yeah, them some good names right there.
Yeah.
You can never be bored with a playlist with those names in it. That sounds a lot like my playlist right now.
Yeah.
For real. That's beautiful right there. Do you think that listening to them have some sort of an influence on how you make your music?
Oh yes. Yeah. When I listen to them, I get good vibes, and it gives me inspiration how to make a good song.
Sort of like it lays the roadmap out for you.
Yes.
I like that. I like that. See, I knew I heard something in your music that was familiar.
Yeah.
it's that it's that
Yeah.
vibe, is a lot of people they move so fast they don't pick up the vibe anymore. And it's
No.
amazing how I don't know what kind of advice would you give to people that you see it just go, go, go and don't really sit down to smell the roses?
Repeat the question again.
Yes, how do you, whenever you talking to people who are so go, 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 and they don't take time to sit down and enjoy life, what kind of advice would you give to somebody like that if you was talking to them face to face?
Well, the advice I would give to them is like, music don't come in a hurry. It takes time, and you have to take your time and do a good song. You know,
Yes, that's
because
true.
when you do a good song, it's for the room,
Right,
not for yourself only, for the world. Yeah.
right. Because if it was for yourself, you could just keep that in your head.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, so that's definitely
Hmm.
definitely some good advice for him right there. All right, well, we'll be coming towards the
Yeah.
end of our interview. First, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any news that you want to bring to everybody's attention? Get them ready for?
I would like to send a shout out to one of my friends in Houston, Texas, Nanda Brown and Miss Brown. I think they have a restaurant on Business Street, in Houston.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, man. And I want to send a shout out to one of my friends, my late friend, who passed away. I met him so many years ago. Bushwick Bill, big artist there.
Yes, yes. R.I.P.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah, that was a big name over here, boy. Definitely gonna be missed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yes.
I met Bushwick Bill way back down in the 80s.
Okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's what's up. That's reaching out and making them connections.
Yeah, man, for real.
Hey. All right. Well, tell everybody how we can find you on what social media pages do you have? What website do you that we can find your music on, and how we can find you on YouTube?
Okay, you can find me on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and Also, my Facebook page, Lincoln Prophet, LincolnProphet. Yeah.
I meant to ask you, how did you come up with that name?
Oh yeah. Okay. Good question. You know, when I was living in New York, right? A friend of mine, a friend of mine says to me, it's like we had a bunch of records, right? And a bunch of cassettes. In time it was vinyl and cassettes we have, and I have a whole box full of them, right?
Right.
So those were for me and my friend. So he said to me if I could sell them, and I said, yeah, I know somebody who want them, right? So I forgot how much money I got for the whole box with a whole bunch of records and cassettes that was in plastic, all brand new.
Wow.
So when he came back the following evening, he said to me, did you sell them? I said, yeah. He said, how much did you get? And when I showed him the money, he said, golly, man, you get this money for them? And I said, yeah. He said, you're a real prophet.
Already.
And he gave me, yeah, he gave me the name prophet, right? So then I was thinking about another name to be with prophet, right? And the first thing that came across me was Lincoln Granulated Sugar Minor. So I said, I'm going to call myself Lincoln Prophet.
Already. Okay. Makes hey,
Yeah.
I get it. That's what's up. That's what's up. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Already. You hey, that right there. That's how you know that name was for you.
Yeah.
That's what's up. All right. Is there any news, anything that's probably going to happen in the near future that you want to let everybody know about?
Well, Lincoln Prophet just keep continuing the journey, you know. Just keep on making good music and stuff like that for my fans and friends and family and stuff like that, you know. And I'm just keep moving on, you know. I want to say big up all my fans out there in Texas, all over Tyler, through Texas, Dallas, Texas, all over. See it? Yeah, and look out for Lincoln Prophet with a brand
Right.
new EP coming out very soon.
Okay. Well, you gotta give us something on that one. What's the name of it? You got a name for the EP yet?
No, I haven't got no name for it yet. No.
Well, whenever you get a name, let BOS Says Radio drop it for everybody.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, man. For real.
It was such a blessing having you on. I want to thank you once again for coming in and just blessing us with your presence on here. We definitely enjoyed the conversation and we definitely enjoyed the music. We just want to make sure that we give you all the best of luck, all the best of not even luck, because you got talent. We don't got luck. You got talent. So we just want to make sure y'all got the big ups that y'all need. Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much, too, sir.
Anytime. Already, everybody, that there was Lincoln Prophet, and you heard him. We're gonna get him out here to Texas. You know, y'all fans out here want to see him, so we're gonna work on that. Y'all heard us. Already, everybody, we got a little bit more music from your boy. Y'all tune in, turn up his zone out. This is BOS Says Radio's Reggae Hour.
All I know that we are one. dancing. I was so in love. Now I learned that you were there. How could I be so blind to see? Well, I couldn't believe my ears, what she was telling me. So I went to call my doctor. So I just have to say, now she really rocks my world. You know good and well you did. You know all this time she's been sleeping with someone named Sayonara. I don't wanna be bothered, and I never wanna see her face no more. Sayonara. I don't wanna be bothered, and I never wanna see her face no more. Oh, hey, hey, and I never wanna see her face no more. Oh, hey, hey, and I never wanna see her face no more. All I know that we are one. You are my everything. I was so in love. Now I learned that you were there. How could I be so blind to see? Well, I couldn't believe my ears. I think she was telling a lie. That's why I called my doctor. After all the time we spent together, makes me wanna cry. All of my labor gone down the drain, 'cause you're a cheater, cheater. And I never wanna see your face no more, 'cause you're a cheater, cheater. Hey, I never wanna see your face no more, 'cause you're a cheater, cheater. Hey, and I never wanna see your face no more. Oh, hey, hey, and I never wanna see your face no more.